Today we are going to look at a simple but very effective contemporary modulation technique. In a previous tutorial we looked at the traditional modulations to the related keys. That's the subdominant, the dominant and the relative major or minor. But this one is a little more crude. It is very simple to use and requires almost no preparation at all. In your composition, when you arrive at that point where you feel your composition needs a burst of brightness and energy, you simply push the tonality up a tone. So if the composition is in D major, for example, we just move it up to E major. It's easy as that. It's a technique that is often employed in pop music, but it works equally well in other genres. So let's look at an example. Here we have a bright and cheerful 8-bar theme scored for trumpet ensemble. So as a composer, once you've sounded this idea, if you want to increase the energy and make the theme brighter, we simply modulate up a tone, and little to no preparation is required. We just force the tonality up a whole step. Listen to the impact this technique has on our theme. It's a little like applying the turbocharger to a race car. It gives you more energy, more vibrance in the sound. And it's so easy to implement. Did you notice I did almost no preparation for this modulation at all? I just arrived in the tonic key and then immediately bumped it up a whole step. Now for a slightly longer example. Here I have a section of music for the unusual combination of instruments, the ophicleide and harp. This section is to be the main body of a movement in a suite. Now how's this for a simple structure? I like the music so much I want to repeat it. I want to sound it again. But rather than simply repeating the entire section, I work the harmonies so that the second playing of this section, which occurs at rehearsal mark E, is a tone higher. It's our old technique. This is a little more demanding, but the effect is still the same. The music takes on a more vibrant and energetic quality. Now this is a longer excerpt, so I'll talk you through as we go along. Here is the main theme in the original key. Here we have the same theme, but sounded in the harp this time. Now here we have a series of chords which will eventually bring us back to the original theme, but remember this time the original theme will be up a tone. Now we're building towards that modulation. And here we have it, the original theme, but this time up a whole step. This contemporary modulation technique can breathe life into your compositions, and it is very simple to implement. I find it best when used sparingly, and there is a catch. If modulating up a tone brightens a composition, then modulating back to the original key, that is modulating down a tone, well, that can create dullness and a loss of intensity in your music. It is possible to effectively modulate down a tone, but the simple solution can often be just not to modulate back at all. Just don't worry about it. Continue the piece on in the new key. So to recap, number 1, when looking to give your composition a burst of energy and life, try modulating up a whole step. And don't be too worried about the preparation. Often the abrupt change gives the best result. Number 2, use this technique sparingly. A modulation usually towards the end of a piece can be effective. Overdo it and you might lose the impact this technique can add to your composition. And finally, after you have forced the tonality up a tone, returning to the original key can be problematic. Instead, try forgetting about going back to the original key and just continue on to the end in the new key.